So today we have Evelyne with us, and we're doing the 100 questions with longevity legends. So I'll start off. Evelyne, how would you describe longevity in one sentence?
Fascinating field that is optimizing health span along the lifespan.
What is your favorite hallmark of aging?
The telomere stop.
Why did you get into longevity research?
Because I was fascinated by gerontology.
How many years have you been in this field?
That would reveal my age, but about 5 years now.
What about longevity makes you most excited?
The fact that we can optimize our sick care by implementing elements of longevity medicine.
What is the first challenge you faced when you just started your scientific journey?
I realized that I have absolutely no idea about AI and machine learning and all the fields related to longevity.
Who was your very first longevity mentor?
Oh, Professor Alex Ravorankov.
How did you find this first mentor?
He found me. No, I'm kidding. I found him through his publication, and he was in the city where I live and work, Shanghai, which is very unusual. And this is how we met.
What was your favorite aging-related project that you did?
I think still gerontological projects measuring biological age in order to determine the best therapy and outcomes for oncological patients.
What is the best conference you ever attended?
ARDD.
What is your favorite thing about conferences?
The fact that you can meet the superstars and absolute geniuses in the field or in fields right there at the spot.
What is your least favorite thing about conferences?
They are too short.
How many research conferences do you attend in 1 year?
Oh. Online and offline.
Yes.
Around so online definitely about 2 to 3 per week. Offline before COVID at least 2-3 per month.
What interventions do you use to extend your own life?
I will review just one: intermittent fasting.
Who was your longevity role model when you had just entered this field?
I had several, including my mentor, but also Dr. Wei Wu He and Peter Diamandis and Professor James Kirkland and Professor Neil Barzilai. Oh, I had a lot. Yeah.
What is something that is on your bucket list?
Oh, my bucket list is like a paragon. I wish to create integral educational curricula of longevity medicine in the med school for med students. I would like to see more implementations of longevity medicine into all of the parts of seekers, into any discipline that is out there, in academic hospital, in public hospitals. And on my bucket list is also very much manifest something that will perpetually promote physicians, new physicians, established physicians, any physicians, to also join the field and implement longevity medicine in a credible way for the patients.
Which longevity drug or supplement do you think is the most interesting one of all?
Which supplement is the most interesting in longevity medicine? I think currently I can only say which one is the most controversial, but I think one of the most interesting ones right now for me is phosphatidylcholine for the brain health, cognition, and support of neuroplasticity.
At what time of day are you most inspired to do longevity research?
After 10 p.m., when all the work in the clinic and calls are finished.
Which country do you think is in the lead for longevity research?
The country I have the honor and pleasure to live in, China.
If longevity was an object, what would it be?
A huge diamond.
What do you think is the next biggest step in longevity research?
Senolytics, I hope.
What is the longevity community #1 social media?
LinkedIn, not to say Twitter.
Which government do you think is the most financially supportive of longevity research?
Oh, from what I know, China, Saudi Arabia, more and more so also Switzerland, and definitely America.
Mm-hmm. When do you think humans will be able to live over 150 years?
They did that already in the past. It's very hard to predict. I hope they will be able to live healthily until 150 and more people will be able to live up to 150 in good health in the next decade or two.
And what is your favorite model organism for research?
Axolotl.
Okay, Lydia, take it away.
Okay, so what is your biggest strength with regards to longevity science?
My strength, maybe the clinical part, really implementing translation and application on the patient.
What is a must-read longevity publication?
Of all times?
Yeah, I guess, like a must-read.
Oh, I think Hallmarks of Aging.
What part of journal publishing is the most exciting to you?
The the notification of acceptance. No, I think I guess I'm really driven by RCT, so translational science. The closer to the clinic, the possible. Yeah.
What is a must-read longevity book?
I would still say Lifespan by Professor Sinclair, but more and more so also other books by Tony Robbins and also by Neil Barzilai, the new book. Yeah, but Lifespan I think still hits #1.
What's a must-know longevity experiment?
Most know longevity experiment? Good question. I think most people know about the experiments on the mice that show actual efficacy in terms of implementation of intermittent fasting and time limited eating.
Mm-hmm. Which high school did you go to?
Sorry, what?
High school.
Oh, which high school I went to? I went to Anne Gymnasium, so to a high school in Eastern Germany with the profile of languages. Absolutely not scientific.
What was your favorite high school subject?
Actually, biology and chemistry. I loved both. Yeah.
How would you describe a day in your everyday work life?
To make the disclosure that nobody should take example, I would say daily work includes first and above the clinic. So I have a day-to-day work in a hospital sick care setting with oncology and internal medicine patients, and then fun calls like with you guys or with other people in the field or also in other fields of medicine. And then is the time for the research. So usually I would stop my day at some point of time where I cannot work anymore late at night.
What percentage of your friends has something to do with longevity?
Of my non-medical friends or non-scientific friends, not many, besides of their eager interest in the actual efficacy, in the working kind of solutions. But those friends who are in the medicine and in science, I think 80% or more are engaged in longevity.
How many hours do you sleep on average?
I'm gonna bluntly lie and say 8 hours, as it is recommended by the guidelines of healthy sleep.
What do you do for mental health longevity?
I'm trying to balance out my time with scientific discussions and work, and literature, philosophy, discussions about general things in life, travels. I think that's what I do in order to have the mental balance in terms of happiness. In terms of cognitive health, reading a lot of books in other languages, also with other alphabets, and using some of the new great scientific apps like Brain HQ and others to keep myself a bit fit.
What are your top 3 healthy foods?
Dragon fruit, white one. Secondly, skim milk, so I can assure my type of proteins. And number 3 would be broccoli.
Where is the border between youth and not youth?
It's what you mark for yourself in your understanding of your age.
What is the one thing you've always wanted to investigate in science but have not done yet?
Actually, the efficacy of some of the geroprotectors on the long run, given either intramuscular or intravenously, not in the oral kind of way. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Which 2 memorable lessons did you learn from your mentors?
Oh, there were so many. I think one of the lessons that I learned that helped me through the different environments I have worked and lived in was to simply be led by the curiosity and to be kind. And that in all the fields of science, of medicine, and work and private life.
Which top 3 qualities do you look for in a future employee?
Loyalty, kindness, and discipline, work discipline.
What is one thing you wish you knew when you were in high school?
I wish I knew that a person is capable to do much more than he or she thinks, or he or she is being talked into by the environment.
Mm-hmm. If you could have any number of hours in your day, how many would you have?
If I'm sorry, what?
If you could have any number of hours in your day.
Oh, I wish I had definitely more. Maybe like a double.
What is one thing you found super useful in university?
Oh, so many things. I think the most useful thing was the novel way of teaching, of interactive teaching, problem-oriented learning, mentorship, and being able to engage in activities that would not be accessible to any other students, maybe in other universities, such as joining Max Planck Institute right next door, or going to Harvard for an exchange semester and stuff.
What is one way tech has helped you in your life?
Who helped me?
Technology.
Technology. Communication with my patients at times where it's truly impossible to be right there or to meet them. I think that was number one of the tech things that helped in my life. Yeah.
If you could change some career decision you made earlier in your life, what would it be?
I would engage more in educating myself in fields related to medicine, in tech, in biotech, in AI, machine learning. But other than that, I would not change my career. I would just be probably more courageous and bold and aim for things that are higher. Yeah.
What is one thing high schoolers should avoid in a longevity career?
Giving students impression that they could not join the field or not excel in the field.
Who is your number one collaborator in the longevity field?
Professor Javronkov, my mentor.
What is a conference you've always dreamt of speaking at?
The Milken Institute conference. If they hear us today.
Okay, so we're 50 questions in. Let's try to zip by the next 50. So you said that you were initially unfamiliar with AI and machine learning. How did you eventually become proficient in those fields?
A lot of self-studies, a lot of courses taken during the Corona time especially, and learning from peers that are in the field.
What is your favorite exercise?
Elliptical.
How does a productive morning start for you?
With a lot of adrenaline because I'm always late, and a nice bicycle ride to work.
What is your idea of a perfect collaboration?
Perfect collaboration is the one that gives symbiotic growth in the project, and where both parties are never competing, but really are just driven by the goal, by the end goal, and always remain kind to each other.
What is something you're tired of in research?
The publishing process is sometimes a little worry.
Yeah. What are your top 5 priorities as a longevity scientist?
Be focused on the patient, bring questions and niches for the research from the bedside, from the patient to the bench. Be very transparent and collaborative, so really collaborate and coordinate. Be very thorough to make sure that other people can repeat and follow what you did. And then promote it. Make sure that people actually know about what you did and why and how it can help.
If you could change the longevity industry in one way, what would it be?
I wouldn't maybe change it. I would love to maybe empower it more by embracing more people and getting, finding ways to bring more credible and motivated people into the field.
What are you most content with in the drug approval process?
In which process?
Drug approval process.
Sorry, the connection is not so good.
Approving drugs, in the process of approving drugs.
What I'm mostly frustrated about, because these are mostly.
Sure, yeah.
I think whenever there is, whenever the administration overweights the need for credibility and safety, those are the moments where we feel a bit frustrated. So there should be as much as needed, but also as little as possible of those stop point checks in approving of the drugs.
What technologies are we currently missing to help advance longevity research?
Physicians. No, but in terms of technology, I think we are still missing more automatization in a lot of the process. So, labs, AI-based labs, robotic labs, internet hospitals, fully integrated robotic internet hospitals, more automatization and optimization of the processes in the research, like from sampling to further identifying of the samples, characterization, and then ultimately also bringing those elements into like drug development or intervention development, RCTs. This is something that we are missing, I think.
What is one political change that would help advance longevity research?
Having all leaders, policymakers, governments embracing longevity in the public health, and also ultimately collaborate to implement in the global health, that would be something that would advance the field for sure a lot, because public health is a lot about educating the public, speaking in a way that it will be understandable and accessible to people, and then ultimately also make it accessible for people. So I guess that would be something that the policymakers, governments could do in order to further accelerate the field.
Where would you start on your research path if you were a high schooler right
now? I would go directly into the clinic, and I would engage more intensively in the RCTs, especially in those RCTs that are testing drugs, medication on a very advanced level. Back in times, that would, although I had a dream and I was kind of engaging in genetic research back in high school. So that's also something very fascinating and very useful for the longevity field.
At what time of year do you feel like longevity research is at its peak? Like there's a lot of things happening.
During the year, spring, summer, where most of the conferences and the brainstormings and the networkings and great ideas being generated are happening.
What is your #1 goal for the coming 10 years?
I think what I mentioned before, having medical students learning about longevity medicine right there at the beginning of their studies, of their medical path, and having longevity departments in most of the public high-level, top-level university hospitals, and not only, of course, spread all over the world on all continents. That would be my top priority for the 10 years on a larger scale.
If you were to organize a longevity conference, which country would you do it
in? I would rotate and make sure that each country at some point of time gets the great pleasure to have the superstars in longevity coming there.
Which would be your first country?
I believe my first country on the Asian continent would be China. In Europe, it would be Switzerland. In the Middle East, probably Israel. And I would love to see more of those conferences. If I could right now have the opportunity to organize one just right there and have all the funds, probably I would target South America or Africa to make sure that we find good ways also for those countries to implement longevity.
What are 3 symbols that you associate with longevity?
Symbols.
Yeah.
The eternal 8, the sand clock, and the target board with the dual purpose drugs. That's for me now the new symbol of longevity.
What is a challenge everyone experiences at some point in longevity research?
Probably the lack of guidelines and recommendations in terms of how to implement those therapies or interventions or longevity, potential applications into the patients now. And obviously still quite severe barriers of actually conducting RCTs on those interventions, since we are not sure yet which biomarkers will be really the ones to follow and to check quantitatively to assess the efficacy of those interventions and safety.
What is your top tip for pitching projects to sponsors or investors?
Anything that is clinical should have a priority. But obviously interventions, both pharmacological, non-pharmacological, and then also novel ways of, maybe in clinical trial designs, because we will need those, and a lot of those right now, facing RCTs where our biomarkers are still not exactly very validated.
What animal do you associate with the word longevity?
As I mentioned, axolotl, you know, the very cute little animals that regrow their extremities after they are being taken away. Those are the ones that I still associate mostly with longevity.
So I asked you already, where do you see longevity science in 10 years? But where do you see longevity science in 100 years?
I think longevity science in 100 years will be something that, you know, people will learn in the textbooks in the text iPads, I don't know, as something that happened, and the science in whatever term it will develop from longevity will be already at such a high stage that they will just learn about it as something as we are learning today about antibiotics or antiseptics.
Yeah. What word gained you the most credibility in the longevity field?
Sorry?
What work gained you the most what gave you the most credibility, like publication wise?
I don't know. That would be a question to people out there. But maybe the one work that I'm being asked about a lot or referred to a lot was the publication in Lancet Healthy Longevity about educating or shaping longevity physicians. Yeah.
What is a large upcoming longevity event or project that you've heard of that you're excited about?
So many, actually. I'm very happy that there are so many right now that I'm so excited about. So definitely all the foundations that are being right now created or already started working or are working already in order to accelerate the field. Also a lot of projects in terms of education, not only for physicians, but also students. Your project obviously is making me extremely happy because, you know, this is exactly what we want to see in longevity, going reverse in the age, you know, and target our future in longevity at the earliest possible. So I hope that also your next step would be to create longevity for kindergarten or something like that, you know, like you take over and bring it further back. Those are the things that excite me a lot. Besides of all the research of analytics and all the research of interventions that are on the way, the clinical trials that are you know, ongoing right now. Yeah, very fascinating.
And on the other side of the spectrum, was there ever a scary moment in your longevity career or the scariest moment in your longevity career?
I think since my work is mostly clinical, the scary moments were those where my longevity patients had some acute events, and clearly they were not related to longevity, but even as a longevity physician, even if you do not care for those patients in terms of sick care, you do experience those moments when you see, oh, longevity is something extremely important, as is the sick care, and probably always will be. Yeah.
Okay, now
Okay. Like last couple of questions. So, what colors do you associate with the word aging?
Red.
How does your typical business meeting go?
My business meeting. My patients meeting. That's all I have. Long calls with patients talking about their health and new approaches towards them.
What is the social aspect of longevity research? Sorry.
Social aspect. No, social aspects in longevity research. Public health, implementation of national policies. So bringing longevity into the society from top down.
When at poster sessions, what catches your eye the most?
Oh, still, I think the clinical research catches my eyes the most. Whenever there is some sort of clinical trials, even in a very low end number, like not super high level of complicated design, where there are good results, I'm being caught to them immediately.
When listening to a boring speaker, what makes you want to fall asleep?
Usually it's the voice that makes me fall asleep.
And
One
when
to
listening
choose.
to a really good speaker, what strikes you as a really good quality?
Presenting the research in a fun way, but at the same time in a very understandable way. That's what catches my attention a lot.
What is a must-do longevity course?
The course of longevity for physicians at the Longevity Hub. That would be first goal.
Why is education important to you?
Because this is where everything starts and when everything ends. This is where we are being either driven to a field, and this is where we are equipped with the first skills where we can take it over, multiply, and then bring it to the future generation.
What color do you associate with the word longevity?
I don't know why, but purple.
Should aging be considered a disease? Very
Yes, of
controversial.
course. 100%. Yeah.
If you could have one superpower, what would it be?
Being much more effective with zero sleep.
If you could have, oh, I already asked that. What is your favorite part about in-person events?
The networking, the ability of being face-to-face with the legends.
What mistake did you make which taught you a lot?
Clinical mistakes. And also the mistake that taught me the most was, I guess, the fact that I didn't pursue a lot of my goals and dreams by being told that I might not achieve them. So one of my biggest missions in the world right now is really to bring to young generations the message that they should always go for their dreams, because this is where, you know, it will benefit all of us.
When was the last time you went at a virtual or on-site event?
Yesterday.
Which would you choose, longer lifespan or longer health span?
Oh, health span. So health span only for me is the most important, yeah.
What is an essential thing to include in a good publication?
A very good description of your limitations and very good description of your future research and the synopsis.
What is the journal you really want to publish in?
Nature Medicine.
What is your own favorite publication?
My own favorite publication? I think still although it's one of the smallest ones and not research related, it's the publication on longevity physicians.
What work did you do before longevity research?
Primarily biomarkers, prognostic biomarkers in oncology.
With $1 billion, what 3 longevity-related things would you invest in?
Randomized controlled trials network, global ones. Senolytic research, acceleration as soon as possible, and AI-based drug development.
What is your favorite educational resource?
Oh, there are so many. Up to date for the medical part, and you know, PubMed for longevity, longevity technology and lifespan for the daily news.
Where do you want to be in 100 years?
In Olamaba. I want to be at the peaceful place where I can look upon all the great longevity superstars that were, you know, created and shaped while I was still alive.
In 3 words, describe your own vision for longevity research.
Collaboration, coordination, acceleration.
If life was infinite, what would you want to do?
I would love to remain an active clinical physician until the end.
What is your #1 piece of advice for high schoolers?
Go for your dreams, learn and be very determined about what you're doing, grasp for brilliant mentors, and be courageous.
And our last question, which longevity legend should we interview next?
Professor Nyobatsile.
Thank you so much, Evelyne. And these were our 100 questions for longevity researchers.